Unless you want to live in complete delusion, you need to hear these 5 hard truths that will change your outlook on ranking up in Valorant. The first hard truth that I wish I understood before starting my Valorant journey to Immortal was that most people suck, but you don't have to as well. Like most of you who play Valorant, the game can be very rage-inducing.
I'm gonna break this kid's back. These kids are so bad on my team. Holy they're so lost. God help me. God help me. God help me! God help!
And I'm sure a lot of you out there, including myself, have been in situations where we have argued with teammates because of sheer anger. This can be because of mistakes during a round, over peaking, or just a simple misunderstanding. Unfortunately, we do not live in a perfect world where people can just be normal and move past it. Oftentimes, people will become passive aggressive, just straight up tilted over something that wasn't even that big in the first place. As well as some people just suck. They choose to throw games for fun and purposely be annoying because they get a kick out of it. These things are just stuff that we cannot control, and Valorant has a huge problem in this area. But that does not mean we have to be the same as that. We can be better by simply not entertaining it and moving on from the situations. We personally would feel much more peaceful rather than attempting to argue back. And I know, it's hard. It's actually really hard. I've been caught many times arguing with people that I truly am disappointed in myself for entertaining because I bit into what they wanted out of me, a reaction. As long as we don't give them what they want, focus on our own game and our own growth, and stick to trying to improve ourselves, we can rise above being petty, little weirdo, incel junkie gamers. The second hard truth that I'm going to give you guys is that you are not entitled to anything. Many of you believe and are delusional enough to think that if you had the chance to play an Immortal, you would dominate in those lobbies and prove that you deserve to be there, even though you are a much lower skill level. There is a reason why you're placed where you are and can't get out of it. And again, I know this is hard to hear, and most of you don't like hearing this, but in order to take the first step towards improving yourself, you must drop the ego and understand your faults as a player. If you truly think you deserve that rank, then why can't you get it then? Do you think it's because of your teammates, your lack of time, or your lack of resources? Listen, I get it. When I was competing, I truly thought I was doing enough, but it turns out I wasn't nearly doing as much work as I should have been compared to my competition. Due to the fact of me being an egotistical teenager and just straight up being delusional, it's hard to believe, but you need to understand that sometimes you just need to cut the bullshit and work harder. I can guarantee you that most people out there don't put in nearly the amount of work needed to help them reach their goals, and they still ask why they haven't seen improvement. I say this thousands of times. There is no secret aim routine or secret technique that you need to rank up. It is sheerly just putting in the hard work and optimizing your schedule in order to improve in the fastest time possible. The next hard truth that I have is that your environment heavily impacts you and how you will perform. Again, everyone is dealt with a certain hand, and most of the time it is really hard to change that. For example, some people won't have a PC until they're able to get a job to pay for it, or some people will have a shitty internet connection, which leads to high ping. I was the exact same. When I started my FPS journey, I was using a 2016 MacBook Air that couldn't even run desktop games. Yes, a MacBook Air that maybe ran CSGO at 30 FPS on a good day. A Magic Mouse that didn't have a right click, and an office keyboard that I think I stole from my elementary school. However, the moment I got my PC, I was able to instantly reach global and hit Immortal in Valorant in the span of just 3 months. Many people would say that, oh, Rooney was able to improve so fast because he got a PC that could run 200 FPS and had a perfect setup. And yes, I won't lie, it helped me tons in reaching those milestones. You're not accounting for the 2,000 hours that I put into CSGO alone, and this isn't including me watching my own games, watching pro games, and learning from streamers. I still did this with my MacBook, which helped me improve 10 times faster than the average person because I put in the hard work behind the scenes, and once I got the opportunity to prove myself, I was able to solo queue my way up to global in a month and solo queue to Immortal in under a month. This just goes to show that yes, your environment matters, but if you care enough about reaching your goals, it won't matter what environment you're in as long as you're putting in the work. So once you get that opportunity to prove yourself, you're able to capitalize off of it and prove people wrong. The fourth hard truth that is pretty hard to swallow is that some people are just going to be better than you. Some people will learn faster or will be born with better genetics that complement gaming. And you can see this anywhere from school, sports, and the work environment. Many people will be discouraged by this. and I know I was too. However, the biggest thing that got me past this limiting belief was just focus on myself. I know this sounds cliche, but it is the truth. Can't compare your results and your improvement by the people around you, because it will just lead you to beat yourself up more and more. And yes, some people say comparing yourself to your competition is a good thing, and I genuinely agree, but only in the right situations. In things like achieving a personal goal, like immortal, or reaching a certain physique, you're kind of dealt cards that you aren't really able to change. Yes, you can train harder and work harder than your competitor, but if someone has a higher skill ceiling than you or better genetics, it's hard to be better than them if they are working just as hard as you. Now, what you can do though is make up for this through other areas. Luckily, in most things, there are other aspects that make you a good player. For example, Boaster and FNS. They might not be the most cracked and mechanical players, but due to their heavy amounts of experience, their leadership, in-game IQ, they're able to compete against the top players in their scene.
Difference between a good IGL and a top tier amazing IGL. The difference between a good IGL and a top tier IGL is solely based on a few things. In terms of an IGL, what is an IGL? I think it's about being, obviously it says in-game leader, but you need to be able to control your emotions. You need to be able to control the team's emotions. You need to set an example for the team. Strategically, you need to be setting an example for how much work people put.
Also, I'm not saying they are not gifted or don't have talent, but this proves that there are other areas that you can strive in to make up for the lack of talent in mechanics or reaction time. It's all about how you see it. Will you quit just because you don't have the genetics, or will you push through and find areas that you can work harder in, be better than someone who has that talent? The fifth and final hard truth is that some games are just going to be losses, and that's okay. I would like to say that in every game you play, you are able to make a big enough impact in order to carry your team to that sweet victory. But unfortunately, how the Valorant rank system is made, that just isn't always the case. Yes, some games will be a guaranteed win, and that feels amazing. However, on the flip side, some games are just going to be losses, and sometimes you will also experience a loss streak, or more commonly known as loser's queue. Don't let this discourage you though. Luckily, Valorant has set up the system where they have distributed it so that you can rank up from your impact alone. In the 20% of your games, they will be wins. However, the other 20% of the games, they will be losses. Now, what about the other 60%? That 60% of the games are the games that you have control over, and you can create an impact to tip the scale in your favor. So don't be discouraged by the games or loss streaks, because those are unfortunately inevitable. As long as you continue to focus on yourself, focus on the fundamentals, and focus on playing for the win and not for the KD, you will see improvement in your RR. It all just takes time. Thanks everyone so much for watching the video. I know it's hard to wrap your head around and accept these as truths, but once you're able to open up and be mindful of these things, I can guarantee you that you will benefit from in your games as well as your outside life. If you enjoyed watching, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as it helps the channel more than you know. And if you're interested in joining my Discord, where you receive updates on my future videos and get chances to meet like-minded players and play in some cool streamer 10 minutes that are coming up, then make sure to join that up. Also, I do offer coaching. It's not mandatory at all, and it mainly supports the channel. So if you would like to book a Valorant coaching session to help you improve, shoot me a DM to learn more. Again, thanks everyone for watching, and if you need tips to hit Immortal in just 1 month, I strongly recommend to watch my last video where I talk all about how I did it and how you can too.